Your brain used to need a delay. Not long, not uncomfortable, just a few seconds, maybe a minute. A question would arrive, and you'd stay there with it before anything answered. Sometimes something would come. Sometimes it wouldn't. But something was happening there that doesn't happen anymore. Not the answer, something else. A direction, a connection, a feeling that you were inside the question, not just moving past it. That space is almost gone now. Not because you lost patience, because there's no longer any gap between the question and the answer. Something is always ready, always there, always faster than the silence. And your brain adapted, instantly, like it always does, quietly, efficiently, without asking your permission. It stopped expecting the gap. It stopped preparing for it. And without the gap, something that used to happen inside it had nowhere left to exist.
You don't notice it because it feels right. You ask something, the answer arrives, you move on. Nothing about that process feels wrong. In fact, it feels exactly right. Efficient, clean, frictionless. And friction, the part where you used to wait, where you didn't know yet, where your brain was still working on it. That started to feel like a problem, to be solved. So, it got solved. But friction wasn't just what you thought. It wasn't only inconvenience. It was also the condition under which certain things could happen. Things that don't happen any other way. When your brain doesn't know yet, when it's sitting with a question it can't immediately resolve, it doesn't just wait. It searches. It connects. It reaches. That's what the waiting was. Not delay. A different kind of work. The kind that produces something no immediate answer can. And now that the waiting is gone, that work doesn't get done. Not because you're less capable, because the conditions for it were removed.
Before we begin, if you value quiet, thoughtful content like this, subscribing helps this channel grow and makes it possible to keep creating videos without noise or hype. Thank you for being here. Now, let's begin.
This is the part most people skip. This isn't about slowing down. That's not the point. The people who still do that kind of work, the reaching, the connecting, the staying inside a question, they're not refusing the speed. They're not working the old way. They're not nostalgic for difficulty. They just kept one thing, a small gap, on purpose. Not a ritual, not a discipline. Just a moment before the answer arrives, where they still let the question sit with them first. And in that moment, the brain does what it was built to do when there's nothing there yet. It works. Not faster, not better, differently. In a way that only happens when there's still something left to figure out. The last time you were stuck on something and didn't immediately reach for help, not because you were being disciplined, just because you weren't ready yet. You were still inside it, still turning it over. And at some point, without deciding to, something came together. Not the full answer, but something. A direction you hadn't seen before, a connection that surprised you. And when you got there, you knew it was yours. Not because it was better, because it came from somewhere inside the problem, not from outside it. It doesn't feel like work while it's happening. It feels like nothing, like waiting, like being stuck. But the brain isn't waiting.
It's running something that only runs when there's no shortcut available. A kind of search that doesn't look like searching. And the result, when it comes, doesn't feel retrieved. It feels found. That's the difference. Not in the answer, in how it arrived.
And this is what changed. That kind of search, the one that runs in the background, the one that doesn't look like thinking, it needs one thing to start: uncertainty. Not confusion, not difficulty, just not knowing yet. And your brain used to get that regularly. Every time there was a gap between the question and the answer, every time you had to wait, that gap was the signal. The signal that said, nothing is coming, so it starts. Now, the gap is almost always filled before that signal fires. Something answers before the uncertainty has a chance to settle in. And the brain learns, automatically, without asking. It learns the way it always learns, by adjusting to what keeps happening.
If this feels familiar so far, not as information, but as something you've been dealing with, we keep a growing collection of prompts, tools, and simple frameworks designed to help you think more clearly, start more easily, and work better in this environment. We add to it over time. Nothing overwhelming, just practical resources you can return to when you need them. If you want access, you will find it in the description. Now, let's continue.
This is what it comes down to. The habit isn't gone. It's just not being triggered. And that's a different problem than losing a skill. Skills take time to rebuild. Habits just need the right conditions. And the condition here is simple. Uncertainty. A moment where you don't know yet, and you let yourself not know a little longer than feels comfortable. Not something you do, something you leave. Just the next time a question arrives and something is ready to answer it, there's a moment where you don't take it immediately, and something starts before anything arrives. You already know what that feels like. You felt it before. The moment something came together that you didn't expect, that you couldn't have asked for. That happened in the gap. And the gap is still available. Every time you don't fill it immediately, something that used to happen regularly gets a chance to happen again. Not because you changed anything, because you left enough space for the brain to do what it was always built to do.
When was the last time you let the gap stay open? Your brain didn't lose anything. It adapted, the way it always does, to whatever keeps happening around it. And what kept happening was that the gap kept closing before it had a chance to open. So the brain stopped preparing for it. That's not damage. That's learning. The same mechanism that removed the habit can restore it. Not through effort, not through discipline, just through repetition of a different kind. Every time the gap stays open, even for a moment, the signal fires, and the brain remembers what it was built to do when nothing is there yet. That's still in there, waiting for the conditions. And there's something underneath this that goes further. Because it's not just about what happens when you wait. It's about what happens to your judgment, your actual ability to decide. When you stop being the one who figures things out first. That's where this goes next.
If you made it this far, it means this topic matters to you. In the next video, we continue building on this with clearer understanding, practical perspective, and ideas you can actually use. Following the channel really helps us keep developing content like this and adding more resources over time. The next video continues from here. You can watch it now.